All right. Something is really loud. That's what it is. Cool beans. Are we recording? Okay, we're recording. It smells, ooh, 12%.
Get lit.
Wait, I can't open it.
Struggling?
I got it.
Oh, okay.
There we go.
Took you long enough.
I'm strong. Pretty done.
Oh, dang. Oh, crap. Let me, hold on.
It smells like alcohol.
Shout out to Fish Hippie, Traveling Wines. Thank you. Sponsor us, please.
Hey y'all, it's Jazz and Kia back here with another Black Girl Lit book review. Gang, gang, gang.
Gang, gang. Black Girl Lit with their literature.
So I'm gonna keep a counter track of how many times we say Black Girl Lit or literature.
Literature.
Literature, as Jazz said in our last video. So today's book is, this was my choice. This is The Bells by Dhonielle Clayton. It is a fantasy novel. I'll give y'all background on the author. I'm with the times now. I put my notes.
Welcome to 2019.
I put my notes in my phone, and I just had to organize them. Okay, so Dhonielle, she's from DC. She lives in New York now. And I'm gonna insert a picture of her. She has this really cute picture on her website. She is so cute. I feel like she's my spirit animal. She went to Wake Forest University. She changed her major from pre-med to English while she was there. She has her MA in children's literature, which is a woman after my own heart. Her MFA in writing for children, and she taught secondary school. She was a librarian. She has a nonprofit called We Need Books, and now her next plans are to go to culinary school and to open up a restaurant.
That's interesting. You know, based on like the book and stuff, I thought she was gonna be like from New Orleans or something.
I know, yeah, that was really like, there was nothing about New Orleans, and she looks very like nerdy and and I love that though. I love it. I love the fact that she looks nerdy. So now we're gonna talk about our reactions to the book and our feelings about it, and then we'll get into major scenes. So I've been talking, so we'll let Jazz go. She has a lot of
I do have a lot of notes. So just to give you some background on the book and what it's about. So The Bells is a fantasy novel, kind of, and it takes place in Orleans, which basically is like a kingdom version of what I assume would be New Orleans, or New Orleans, because their symbol is a fleur-de-lis.
Fleur-de-lis sounds French.
Okay, fleur-de-lis. And basically it's a story about how this kingdom, everyone is born essentially ugly. They come out with skin that's really gray and red eyes, and no one is attractive. But there are these certain people who are born with normal colored skin and hair and who are really beautiful, and those women are called the Bells. And the Bells kind of help make the people of the kingdom beautiful. So basically the people, the citizens, they pay money to have these beauty appointments to where they're made beautiful, and the Bells set the standard of beauty for the nation or the kingdom, and everybody kind of wants to live up to whatever the new trend is beauty wise. So that's just kind of a synopsis of like the background of the book and I guess the whole storyline. And then also there's a beauty minister who works really closely with the Bells, and she kind of helps to create the beauty laws. So initially when I first started reading the book, I was slightly confused because it kind of just starts off like, hey, you know, they're like the coronation essentially of the Bells, and I was like, okay,
no background,
it just
really
jumps right into it. Yeah, and then there's a lot of words and terminology that are used throughout the book related to like the story and like specifically to this kingdom, and I was really confused. I was like, I don't know what any of these words mean. There wasn't a lot of context clues given. No glossary, nothing. But as you read, you start to kind of use your context clues a little bit more, and you start to get an idea of exactly what's happening. And then the book starts to really get like really good. Like definitely towards the end, I kind of was like page turner, like especially at the end. I'm definitely waiting for the sequel to come out. It was a good book. But just some like things that kind of like stuck out to me So the bells, they all have like what's called arcanas, and there's like I think it's arcanas, that's how I pronounced it.
Yeah, I think I pronounced it arcana.
The arcana.
I don't know because I'm reading in my head.
Yeah, so you don't really know how it's supposed to be pronounced. Anywho, and basically this is like they have like 3 little buckets. So like they can control the manner, they can control your aura, and as well as your age. And these levels have to be at a certain point. If the arcana levels get too low, the bell can basically faint, die, won't be able to have her powers anymore. So arcana is basically their powers and how they're able to kind of transform the kingdom and the different citizens, the kings, the queens, and things. And basically what's going on in the book, there's a belle, her name is Camille, and she wants to be what's considered the favorite. And the favorite is someone who's held in high regard, gets to live with the king and the queen, gets to perform the beauty treatments on all the high citizens, and kind of get them transformed however they want to. And throughout the book, she is trying to, 1, become the favorite, 2, maintain her power as a favorite, but then she is faced with a dilemma of, do I do what I'm supposed to do and be the favorite and give in to every wish and whim of the king and the queen, or do I kind of do what may possibly end up killing me or taking away my power because it's for the betterment of the entire kingdom? And that's something that she kind of struggles and faces throughout the book. So I guess, well, yeah, that's my little synopsis of it.
It's like Jazz is on it today.
You know what I'm
okay?
saying? I came prepared this time. I wasn't as prepared last time, but I'm prepared now.
I feel ill prepared. See, I take my notes after I read.
So this time I actually was taking notes throughout the book, like while I was reading. Because last time I felt like I didn't have a lot of notes. I just had questions about how I felt. So this time I was like, well, I want to be more prepared because you had like all these scenes that like were important and stuck out. And I was like, dang, I didn't have no scenes that really stuck out to me. So this time I came prepared, y'all.
So I was like, did it delete all my notes? Oh my gosh. See, this is why I write.
This is why she's not with her.
See, that's why I do paper.
Maybe we'll have her go back to paper next episode.
So when I first started reading the book, it's the same way I felt when I was reading Point. I was like, oh my god, it's starting off slow. And I think that's because they just didn't give us a lot of background information, like you said. A lot of new and unfamiliar vocabulary for me.
Hashtag vocabulary.
It quickly picked up, and I wrote down that it tickled my fantasy bone. You know, I'm a huge Harry Potter fan, so like I love fantasy. I don't know why, but I really love this book. Like once it started picking up, it really just picked up, and you were just like boom, boom, boom. And the chapters weren't really long. Like there were some points where I would be staying up to like 11:30 at night, like trying to like, okay, I'm gonna stop when I finish this chapter. Oh no, something's happening. Okay, I'm gonna stop when I finish the next chapter. So I do appreciate that. And then also, even with the vocabulary, I did write that I appreciated that Dhonielle thought enough of the reader to be intelligent enough to kind of use context clues and figure everything out. Because, you know, giving the reader that agency instead of saying in parentheses, this is what this means, or like, here's the glossary, turn to this page. So that's my reaction. Next, we're going to talk about major scenes and topics.
Okay.
A lot.
There's a lot of major scenes. So like in the beginning, it kind of starts off kind of like chill, like she said. But there are some major scenes. Like towards the end, like I felt like every scene was a major scene.
I know. I was trying that. I was like, let me just pick a couple.
Right. I literally like all of the things that I have are like major scenes. So in the beginning, I guess the major scene is like when they're about to do their coronation or coming out party for the bells. Camille interacts with this man named Augustus. I call him Augustus. That's how I pronounce it in my head.
It just has an E on the end.
Yeah. Augustus. She meets this man, and it's kind of against the law for bells to have any kind of like illicit interaction with men. They're kind of told that if you go fall in love with a man, you're gonna lose all your powers. The love is gonna poison your blood, all these different things. So she kind of like has this interaction with the man, and it kind of intrigues her, interests her. She kind of has like a flirtation relationship, and that kind of continues throughout the book. And then, but come to find out, we found out that he actually a little fraud, and he was sent in to infiltrate and get all up in her head, and basically was snitching, essentially.
Right, because all the things that the bells do are secret. So nobody knows them except for the Dewberry, that's her name?
Yeah,
the Dewberry family. So they're in charge of like taking care of the bells before they go to coronation, because they get to be official bells when they turn 16. So the Dewberry family is in charge of all the secrets, and they know everything. So Camille wasn't supposed to tell all these secrets, but
she told him because she thought she trusted him.
Like every time she got in contact with Augustus, like her arcana would like tingle and she could feel it rise. And it was like whenever she would perform a beauty treatment, she said.
And then also, so another character in the story is Princess Sophia. So she's part of the royal family. The royal family consists of the queen, the king, Princess Sophia, and then Princess Charlotte. Princess Charlotte has been like in essentially a coma for years, and no one really knows what's going on with her. No one can be able to wake her up and stuff, and they're just trying to figure out what's going on with Princess Charlotte. But then you have Princess Sophia, who's younger than Charlotte, who's like prime, ready to take over the kingdom, be queen, should her sister, you know, not recover from whatever her illness is. And Princess Sophia is sadistic. Simply put, she is crazy. She is psychopath. She's manipulative. She is literally the craziest person I've ever read about. Like, and I said I like psychological thrillers, so I think that element really helped me get into this book, because I kind of like those books where there's like that crazy character. And she was definitely that. Like, imagine Amy from Gone Girl, but like in this kind of like kingdom. Bitch was tripping.
I've never seen Gone Girl. Maybe I can relate to that.
It's a good book too, and a good movie. But anywho, she was crazy. She like poisoned people. She wanted to be the most beautiful person in the kingdom, so she was constantly having these crazy procedures done so she could be considered the most beautiful person.
Yeah, and she always changed her look.
Always change it. And if she deemed that she were a threat or could possibly be seen as more beautiful than her, she found a way to remove that beauty from you, whether having you poisoned, killed. She turned her girl into a pig, essentially. Had Camille turn her into a pig at a party and ridicule in front of people and ridicule her.
With no, like, they have a sedative that they call Bell Rose tea, which like numbs you from all the pain or whatever. And they didn't, and Sophia didn't give it to the girl.
Just let her go through and get her nose turned into a pig snout, and told all the other bells to not fix her, so she could go continue through the rest of her life with a pig snout.
And that like went against what the Belle's powers were for.
Yes, their powers are supposed to be used for good, and you know, Sophia, being the crazy person that she is, did it just out of pure spite and anger, because she's just sadistic, like I said. She also tried to kill Camille a couple different times. She set Camille's bed on fire. She poisoned Camille. She was just legit crazy. Then she tried to frame Camille, had Camille and another bear, Amber, essentially kill Princess Claudine, which is like another princess, so like, you know, like the higher up,
like her, it's one of her ladies
in waiting, cousin princess type thing. Had her killed, and then basically had Camille and Amber arrested and sent to prison because she's just crazy. She's just essentially crazy.
I put Amber and Camille trying to, well, they were competing over Lady Claudia. There we go. I wrote her name down. Claudia, and they were like changing her like back and forth. And I didn't pick that scene because, you know, she died. But like Amber was just so intent on beating Camille when essentially like they were sisters, and you thought it was a healthy competition, but Amber was just so like obsessed with pleasing the royal family and beating Camille that like essentially she didn't care what she was doing.
And I think that's another layer of like, I don't know really if this was one of the themes, but like family competitiveness, because Camille is kind of seen as the one who was the risk taker, the wild child, willing to do whatever she wanted, she would do. Whereas
I feel like
Amber,
people thought she was the most beautiful belle too.
Yeah, and Amber was the one who was really straight laced, followed all the rules. Basically, this was like school. She got 4.0 GPA, did everything right, and you know, for Camille to kind of come in. And another layer was, so when they first chose the favorites, Amber was the first favorite. Yes. And Camille was sent to a tea house, which is basically like a beauty salon where she would just kind of work out of. And something happened to where Amber was no longer the favorite, and they asked Camille to be the favorite. So I think that added another layer of tension within their relationship. And so this opportunity where Sophia's like, hey, I want you guys to take turns on changing up Lady Claudia or whatever, Amber got really, really into it, more so than I think she should have, and that kind of culminated in Lady Claudia dying, and then hence the framing and then going to jail kind of thing.
The end of that book was so intense. Oh my god.
It's a really good book. So one of the questions that I had, right, because you know I have my questions and how I like to relate books. So like current events, what's really going on in like our world. So would you consider people like Kim Kardashian, would she be a Belle where people are trying to look after her, like model themselves after her, or is she a person who is going to Belle's to kind of match whatever's going on with the beauty trends? Is she the trendsetter or is she a trend follower?
So I wrote like the Bells actually remind me of like social media influencers and like YouTube beauty gurus. Like that's what it brought to mind. There's a lot of conscious, like aware beauty gurus out there, and they don't try to like manipulate people, but I feel like people are attracted to them in that sense. And I think Kim Kardashian could go both ways. Like she could be a Belle setting the trend, and she could be the person like going to the Bells trying to match this whatever societal standards are. Because I actually wrote that in my notes. Like when I was reading, I was like, these remind me of like beauty gurus. Like that's what they are. Because you think about it, on social media, they're in charge of like, well, they're not in charge of, but they control like what we see, what we like, what we use. Like even this lotion that I have, there's this YouTuber, Miss Vaughn, she used it. And I was like, oh, it works for her. Maybe I can use it for me. Granted, it worked, but you know, like they promote products and they get you interested in them. And that's the same thing that the Bells do. Like they have Belle beauty products that they use. They set the standards for like skin color, skin tone, body shape. And I also noted that Camille, she's a more conscious and like kind of self-aware Belle, because when she was in the tea house before she became the favorite, there was a parent who brought their daughter in, and Camille was like, oh, she looks fine, I don't think she needs anything done, like she looks beautiful the way she is. And Camille was all about like, you know, preserving like the natural beauty and not doing anything too extreme. And like there was even a trend of like, I think thin bodies were in, and Camille often mentioned, I think she mentioned this several times in the book, that she wanted to bring back curves and fuller figures because like people were coming in trying to get smaller figures and things like that. So I like the fact that Camille, like even from the jump, she was like socially aware. Even though at first she kind of seemed like she would do anything she could to like be the best and be on top, she was still in the back of her mind like trying to be conscious and be aware and she thought about people rather than just the beauty. When in the book everybody's just obsessed with the beauty aspect.
That's what the whole kingdom is kind of based on. And there was a couple like little like notes and things or like quotes that I remember in the book. I remember someone saying something along the lines of beauty is the most important thing. Essentially there's like, it's basically the whole kingdom is ran on beauty. It's like a hierarchy. People who don't have the money to afford these treatments are the ugly people.
They're called the grits.
The grits, and the people who are affluent, they can have as many treatments and things as they want, and they kind of set the standard and all this stuff. So it's really interesting to kind of look at, like, because that can relate to how things are now, like you said, with the Instagram influencers, what kind of social media influencers, they kind of set the tone on what is the standard of beauty. And then you have to kind of like ask yourself, is that really how our society should be going? I know they always tell us that beauty's in the eye of the beholder, but like, is that really true?
I mean, because you can, like back in the day when we were growing up, it was all like magazines and newspapers, like you would see like how photographers would like Photoshop people's bodies and make them look smaller and stuff like that. But now with social media, and you just have 24-hour full-time access to it, and you can't really shut it off. And I feel like that's how Orleans is in the book. It's just 24 hours constant like beauty, 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 and if you can't afford it, then your beauty will fade. So I feel like the Bells were kind of like, plastic surgeons and beauty influencers all wrapped in one, because they could literally like shape people's bones and change their noses. It's crazy. Like my mind doesn't even have the capacity to like imagine everything that was going on in the book, like while they were changing. I felt like so bad. I was like, I just want to see it and visualize it, because I'm such a visual person when I'm reading. This book had a lot of messages, a lot of undertones. Another thing I noticed was that there was a lot of extramarital affairs.
Oh yes.
And homosexual relationships.
There was. And it's not like, and they're all hidden kind of. So like the Princess Claudia, she was in a hidden lesbian relationship, and she was trying to hide it from Sophia, because Sophia was trying to get her hooked up with a prince or something. Who I think the prince that she suited her with
was the one that's the scene. I didn't even write that down. on.
Yeah, so there was a scene where Camille's doing a beauty treatment on this prince or this, you know, man of court, and he essentially like attacks her, like tries to like rape her. And it's a really crazy scene, and Camille like tries to tell everybody like, hey, bro, rapist, you know, he tried to apparently had done it to her sister Amber when she was the favorite, and she's like, yeah, we need to get this man removed from court, and everyone was like, oh yeah, we know about that, we know about his predilection.
But the queen was on her side.
The queen was on her side, but everyone else, we'll just kind of ban him from court for a little bit and put him in a what they call starvation box for a couple of days. But then that never really happened because
shows back up at the end.
He shows up. Sophia has and she's about to hook him up with her friend essentially. But yeah, there were some crazy scenes in the book, and I found one of the quotes that I was talking about. So one of the quotes says, "I don't care if men want me to be found beautiful by other women is worth more than the affection of any man."
That's true. That is true. Life.
That's true. Like women dress for women. We don't get dressed for men.
No.
We get dressed for women. And why do we do that? Not saying that we should dress for men, but why do we dress for other women? Why don't we just dress and look for ourselves?
Right. But we do, because like in our mind, it's just how we're set up. We trying to compete with the next person. We want to look our best, and we don't want people like talking about us. So I mean, I want to say this. Not all the time do I dress for other women, but every time you go out, you always be like, girl, what you wearing? Like, even for this video.
I asked her what she was going to wear.
Yes, and then Dash shows up and I'm like, okay, what am I gonna put on? Like, I wanna look as good as she does. I don't wanna be looking on this video and then y'all looking at me like, ooh, Nike, you look broke down this time. So, that quote is true. I need to put that on my wall or something. That's a good quote.
I just have a little patience because remember, I have the Kindle. So
thug life out here, real books in these streets,
Black girl lit. So another thing that I did like about the book was at the end and like the acknowledgement section where she kind of
I tried so hard not to read that before I finished the book.
Where she kind of talked about her own personal experiences with body image. And I think one thing that kind of stuck out to me, she had mentioned like in her room there was like a little cubby where she could kind of go through and use it as like a reading nook.
Like
but
Harry Potter.
Like Harry Potter living in the cupboard, living under the stairs. But she was able to kind of go in there and use it as a reading note. That's what her parents intended it for. But she ended up covering all the walls with images from magazines of what she thought was beautiful. And she really kind of used that as her model of how she was supposed to look because that's what society tells her. And she said that she kind of struggled a lot with her own body image. And I think that was really good because that's something that you can see very prevalent within the book. Is that are these people really, it's what's the norm and that's what's happening in the kingdom. And everyone is supposed to go to these people, to the bells to become what they considered to be beautiful at the time, but that's just essentially everyone is just struggling with their own body image issues. You should just be happy with who you are, how you look, kind of thing.
Right.
And I thought that was really good to see that she is really responsible. I think, like in the last book, like Point, she provided resources, but I think that was responsible for Dhonielle to kind of tell her story about body image.
Yeah, and Dhonielle kind of just gives you like the meaning for everything. Because I feel like if she didn't have that part, you would still kind of be like, what is going on? But I think it kind of just brings everything together. There's one more scene I wanted to mention was when what's her name, where Arabella revealed that she and Camille are the same.
Oh yes, I forgot about that.
Because what you don't know until the end is that bells are grown, not born. Like all of their powers lie in their blood. So I'm not gonna give everything away, but oh god, this book is so good. But all their powers lie in their blood, and essentially they're grown, and then they're raised by other bells, which they call Mummins. I don't know. Dhonielle, tell us, girl.
Mummins.
We know you watch this video. You can tell us how to pronounce these words if we're pronouncing them wrong. We'll tag you.
Let us know.
But I thought that was really dope, like, because usually when the new bells become in, the previous generation like goes back to their house and raises the new bells, the baby bells or whatever. So Arabella actually stayed there with Princess Charlotte. And at the end when Camille is trying to escape, Arabella takes off her veil because they wear veils, so they're not being compared to the new bells. These words sound so tangled up. I hope this makes sense. So she takes off her veil, and Camille sees that, oh, she looks just like me. And I just realized there's some foreshadowing of that because at Camille's coronation, she turns the girl
to look just like her.
Dhonielle, come on, girl, you better write.
Shadowing.
Yes.
Also,
literary elements.
I know that she said she wasn't gonna give her stuff away, but spoiler alert, come to find out, Princess Charlotte's been poisoned the whole time. That's why she been in a coma. And that was another thing, was about Arabella kind of exposing that, and basically we were trying to figure out how can we save her, how can we fix her. And the book was good. It was very, very good. And there's sequels coming out. We're gonna read the sequel. I'm excited for it.
I'm gonna tell you when it's coming out. I'm about to find out.
Because it's just different. It's very different. I said,
you don't see black people in fantasy.
No, there's not a lot of black fantasy like books, characters. So I think for us to have it was definitely good. Like I said, at first I was confused because I was like, I'm not really sure what's happening.
Nakia, why did you use it?
That's exactly what I said.
The sequel is called The Everlasting Rose.
Okay.
So we're gonna find out when it comes out. I might have to just go ahead and pre-order that hoe.
I mean, the book is just good. And I think for me, also just being a woman, and like there's scenes where they were talking about, they made a beauty law where they
March 5th, sorry.
March 5th, took it long enough. There's a scene where they talk about like a beauty law where basically they said that no breast should be larger than a melon, and I was like, well dang, I'm gonna go to jail. Like, I can't live in that Orleans because, that's not, what kind of law is that? I would have to go to a bell to get mine shrunk down or something. But I honestly just...
I fit.
Whatever. Whatever, nobody asked you. But to be completely honest with you, I think it was just really good to like understand and see about body image, self-image, finding the beauty within yourself and not feeling like you have to look like someone else or fit some kind of standard or follow some beauty law to be considered beautiful. And then also, I think it also taught you about not taking everything that you see for face value and kind of listening to your own intuition. When something doesn't seem right or feel right, look into that, not just take it and say, oh, it is what it is, but kind of actually investigate, because there's definitely a lot of scenes in there where things just didn't look right or seem right to Camille, and she could have simply just brushed it off, because she could have been like, oh, I'm the favorite, I'm living in the palace, I'm living this lavish life. But she was like, no, I need to figure out what's actually going on here, because somebody's lying, and I need to find out what's going on. So it was really good.
I think Camille was like really #woke. Like she was all about like natural. Well, she really gonna have me counting this in this video.
I didn't say it that many times this
you did
video.
You said it like 5 times. In the beginning of the first one.
Well, that's because I think since you said that you were gonna count, I like subconsciously was like, let me not say it so much.
But Camille is like #woke, and she's all about like the natural beauty and just preserving the natural frame and not doing any extreme. And one thing I want to say, I was mentioning that we're reading books by African Americans or women of color, and then with characters who are people of color. I was a little bit skeptical about this book because when I started reading it, I realized that they could change their skin tone. Yeah. But you read about Camille, the Bells don't change their look or whatever it is. What it is what it is. But her skin tone is, it mentions it's a brown skin tone. It goes into detail in there, so you got to read the book to see specifically. But I appreciated that fact, even though I think maybe one of her sisters had like ivory white skin. Yeah, and like red hair or something. Yeah, but I did appreciate the fact that, she was black. And it was hard for me to read her as black because you just don't see black people in fantasy a lot. So I just got to read more fantasy so I can shift my mindset. That's not Dhonielle's fault. That's the beautiful thing, though, and this is something I realized after we did the last video where we talked about how Theo and Point didn't read as black. But I think it's because we have this perception of how we think that all black people are supposed to be, and every black person is different. Every black person looks different. Every black person acts different. Black is a lot of different things. It's a lot of different shades. You can't. Are you getting tips and out like more than girl? I don't know, child. I look like a lush. Look, let's take a comparison here. Is it recording? Okay. I look like a lush comparison. I'm not that far behind you. I would have been right with you, but I'm getting. Oh, see, it's mom life. Ooh, child. Life. Maybe I didn't eat enough calories today. All right, we done ran our mouths enough about favorite scenes and stuff. Whew. We bumped our gums. It was just like, I mean, like I said, towards the end of the book, everything, there was so many scenes. Like I said, I felt like every scene was a major scene and was important. And I was like, oh, they can't top that. Then they topped it. And I was like, dang. Yeah, it just kept building. So in terms of the rating, so remember, we have our rating scale. So we have tipsy, which is... Not tipsy, I'm sorry. We start with sober, my bad. Which we are not right now. Well, I'm not. That's it, that's why I said I'm tipsy.
So yeah, so we start with sober, and that's like, then we have buzz.
Designated driver.
I could just spend the night here. So we have buzzed, then we have tipsy, and then we got lit.
You know when you lit, you always stick your tongue out and you be like, "Ay!" That reminds me like of that meme, or like somebody posted something like, there's nothing more annoying than hear yourself going "ay" in the back of the video.
That's actually true. I have several videos of instances of
Harper wants me to make her waffles. Okay, so we're gonna rate.
Yeah, so you rate first because I rated first last time.
Okay, so my rating is lit. I put 4 fire emojis. Y'all see that?
Lit.
Look at that. 4 fire emojis.
Lit.
I loved this book.
Lit.
Like I said, it started off a little slow.
Lit.
It's black girl lit. It's not just lit. It's black girl lit. But I love this book. Like I said, it started off a little slow, but I like the fact that it built and it never like went down. Like the vocabulary was a little hard, but I appreciated that because then Dhonielle was like, I love her name by the way, Dhonielle.
I hope we're pronouncing that right.
Yes. Correct us if we're not, girl, because I know you watch it. But I love the fact that she thought enough of us to say, y'all are smart enough, y'all are intelligent enough to figure this out, so I'm not just going to be, you know, what do they call it? What do they call when you talk down to people?
Condescending.
There we go. Black girl smart.
It's in my brain.
But I appreciated that. Like, yes, the scenes were very well written. It kept me wanting to read. I told y'all I just kept staying up. I had to force myself to go to sleep sometimes. So yeah, yes.
Okay. So in terms of my rating, I would match, and I would say that the book is lit. And the reason why I deem that it is lit is because it actually, towards the end, it wanted to read more. Hey girl, back early. It made me want to read more, and when the book ended and it ended on kind of like a cliffhanger, I was like, oh my god, where's the next book? And the feeling that it gave me lets me know that this is a lit book, because if you read a book that ends on a cliffhanger or watch anything that ends on a cliffhanger and you don't care and you're not interested to want to know what happens next, it's not something that compels you or is interesting to you. But this book did that to me, and I definitely feel like it's a lit book. I think it's very different. It's completely outside of the norm in terms of fantasy. Even for fantasy, I think it's really, really different. It's very well written, very descriptive. I could see the dresses, the ball gowns. I could see where they were. I could see everything. I felt like I was there, and I think all of that makes it a very lit book. So Dhonielle girl, you have gotten a black girl lit book. Hey. So thank you.
And I will say, this book came out last year in 2018, but I'm glad we didn't read it until now, and the new book comes out next month, so we don't have to wait so long.
Thank goodness.
Yes. So, I mean, that's it for this, y'all. So the next book that we're reading is called The Education of Margot Sanchez by Lillian Rivera. So Latina
standard.
Puerto Rico, Boricua, Borera,
Dominicana, Colombiana, Morena. She wants waffles.
But this is the next book we're reading. I feel like we're gonna finish this in a week.
It's really quick.
Yeah, it's very short. So yeah, we're gonna come back with y'all with the realness,
the real books, the realness.
So like, I'm gonna put our cash apps below.
Cash app me.
For real, we just trying to read and buy books. And y'all, I want to tell y'all something. So I got a message on my Facebook today from somebody who has a book club, and they want our book club to come to their book club's 10-year anniversary.
Cause we lit, y'all.
We black girl lit. Okay, so I was excited to see that, like, that other people are actually watching our videos and seeing them. So if y'all like our videos, give it a thumbs up, drop some comments down below, give us some book suggestions, let us know what you're reading, give us some opinions on our reviews, what we can add to it, take from it, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, and shout out to Brandy Colbert from Points, because she liked our post, because we posted, tagged her in our post on Instagram, and she liked it. So hey girl.
Yes, we do have social media. Are we gonna do our social media?
We'll come back to that. I'm not doing
so we snagged the username.
We snagged them. Okay,
but you know, we're trying to build a little bit, and then we're gonna
and then we'll
drop that on y'all. But you know, follow Jazz at Lenny Nora.
Lenny Nora.
Follow me at Nikia Jalyn, and we're just gonna get it on and shpoppin'.
Shpoppin'.
Shpoppin'. Cardi B needs to write a book. I would read it.
Oh God. All right. So this is how we end the video, I guess. I don't know.
Thank y'all so much for watching.
Thank you.
Make sure you subscribe, like this video, y'all. So these are on my channel right now, but you know, if they start getting popping, we're just gonna create a whole Black Girl Lit channel, so y'all can go right there. But it's on Nikia Jalyn right now, so go ahead, give it a thumbs up if you like it. If you don't like it, give us a thumbs down.
Don't give us a thumbs down.
It's okay, but that's still interaction.
It is interaction, yes.
But if you thumbs down it, tell us why.
Yes, please give us some. We're open to you know, criticism and understanding. What we can do better to improve our craft.
Yeah.
So please rate, comment, and subscribe. Okay, and you know what? Read, because it's fundamental.
Exactly. And stay Black Girl Lit.
Stay Black Girl Lit.
We'll see y'all in the next one.
Bye.
Bye. Ah, that was good.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.